Yo, what's going on, everybody? I hope everybody's doing well. I'm here to drop a video today on what I would call probably the most eye-opening information that I've seen. The most eye-opening single piece of information at that. So strap on and let's dive into it. Okay, so for those of you that don't know, so to summarize it really quickly, right? So I spent the last couple of months going through a lot of information I've been sitting on, pondering, continuing to ponder the whole idea of Satoshi Nakamoto. I have this weird obsession with trying to figure out who the fuck it is. Let's put it at that, okay? So, but what I noticed was I started going through a bunch of loops in whatever finding I have, right? Despite all the claims and theories, you got things like the whole Mt. Gox situation. You have John McAfee, you have the DOJ, you got CIA, you have Jed McCaleb, Craig Wright, Mike Hearn. You have all these different theories and claims of who Satoshi Nakamoto could be. But what I've noticed is no matter what claim or theory people come up with, nobody ever addresses the fact that they all are tied to the Genesis block of Bitcoin, and they all are tied to 1 million Bitcoin. All right, so let's dive into it, right? So my claim today is, and it's not a theory, right? I'm making a claim that Crypto G group is Satoshi Nakamoto. Okay, there's been many different claims and theories, but as I mentioned, the one variable that they all share is that there's 1 million Bitcoin and there's a Genesis block that individuals never really address along with their statements or theories of who Satoshi Nakamoto is. So I'm here today to actually show you proof of probably the closest connection to Satoshi Nakamoto, at least in my eyes, and you'll get a chance to see as well, that would tie a group of individuals or a person to the identity of Satoshi Nakamoto. By far, to me, the most convincing that I've stumbled upon, and to me just kind of makes it clear as day that Crypto G group is Satoshi Nakamoto, vice versa. So let's dive into it, right? So for those of you that don't know about Crypto G, just to kind of sum it up, I'm not going to go through the details of their background, but just to kind of sum up Crypto G, it's a group that claims to be Satoshi Nakamoto. They claim to have access to the 1 million Bitcoin that's missing, not missing, but that's just been stashed away in thousands of wallets. Okay, and they've been claiming this since about 2021. Now, before I proceed with more on this information, there's a lot of you that will probably have a distaste for the Crypto G group. Those of you that follow the Telegram and those of you that have been following along with Crypto G understand that there's been many failed timelines, many failed promises. So do me a favor, just kind of step back from that right now and remain objective, because while your emotions may see a failed timeline, they're also failing to see important key pieces of data that once you understand that there's a possibility that this is the real thing, the emotions don't matter as much. All right, so Crypto G group, for those of you that aren't looped in, as I mentioned, they've gone through a lot of failed timelines, a lot of failed promises. Their main previous token was CTGX, which had a jump of plus 1,000% back in 2022, which made me, is kind of what sealed the deal for me. That made me, made me a lot of money in a brief moment of time before it ended up failing at the launch, right? But that's neither here nor there. They had their reasons for whatever happened, whether I believe them or not. It's hard to say. But just to give you the summary of Crypto G, They've announced that it has plans to liquidate the 1 million BTC owned by Satoshi Nakamoto. This Bitcoin will be distributed as funding for all CTGX holders. This means that as long as an investor holds CTGX tokens, they stand to benefit from the Satoshi BTC. Okay, so they've been claiming this for a good while, a couple of years, right? They have not changed their story. That's what's interesting about Crypto G Group. They've managed to maintain consistency in their narrative. On top of that, they've remained consistent with a couple of key points that, to me, kind of drive this whole claim. The details, right? Crypto G Group has always kept us in the loop on kind of their timelines. Now, we don't hear from them all the time, but when we do, it's an update. Over the last year or so, they managed to send us the most updates we've ever received from them, right? But beyond the updates, let's look at the anomalies. Okay, so Crypto G Group has always used their Crypto G email, right? So I used to follow Crypto G back in 2020, and we used to get if you were subscribed to their emails, you would get emails, and those emails would still come from their same CryptoG at .finance email, right? Which is, if you look at the token TOML for, and I don't think you can find this anymore, I have screenshots of it, but if you look at their old TOML for their first token that they launched, CTG, which kind of still goes into more detail on what they do. So Crypto G is apparently going to launch the first decentralized crypto bank, which is what they've been preaching for a couple of years now. And they're apparently backed by an undisclosed gold mine out of Southeast Asia, which is supposed to be gold value reserve, which is projected to store around $1 trillion upon the completion of their gold mining project. Okay. So that's the big thing right there, the backing. Okay, so the anomalies, so look at the anomalies, right? So beyond that, let's look at the anomalies here. So cryptog.finance at protonmail.com, right? So that's that same email that they've been using to communicate with us. Their most recent email is kind of what triggered me to just kind of go ahead and make this video a topic of just Crypto G, right? So anomaly number 1, Crypto G email, always used when they're with their communication. Okay, now there was recently a big switch late last year where everybody was thrown for a loop. Crypto G came out and said, hey, we're creating our final plan, which is going to be the token called Nour. Now Nour supposed to be listed at a minimum price of 2,000 per token with a locked supply of 30,000. But the main thing here is that they made us send our current XLM holdings, our current OPRX holdings, which is another token they launched, our current CTGX holdings. They made us all send those tokens over to a wallet address that, right? So they made us basically send our tokens to this wallet that ended in WQCF, and basically gave us a limited time to do so. And if you look at the original TOML file for CTG, this WQCF was one of the original accounts tied to Crypto G's main tokens, right? So anomaly right there, that's an anomaly to me. So whether I was supportive of the idea of doing that, that's neither here nor there. In my opinion, the way I saw this situation was, look, the way I approach crypto in general is I'm here to take risk with it. And if this risk could potentially give me the highest reward, then hey, I'm taking it on my end. Now, I don't advise people to do that, right? I'm a little more I'm pretty aggressive on the risk side of things. Okay. So to me, I have a good career that I get my funding from, my own personal money. And when I say I save some on the side for crypto, and that's just what I use it for risk. And if I lose it, I lose it, right? So do not take this as investing advice. To me, I'm here for big risk, big reward. And to me, the 1 million Bitcoin that apparently Satoshi Nakamoto has access to is by far either the biggest scam that we're getting led into by this group, or as I like to say in a lot of my Telegram channels, it's either a big scam or probably the most important financial event that's about to take place in history, right? And if you ask me, I'm willing to take that risk. Okay, so back to Crypto G. Apparently this token's supposed to be worth $1 million per token once it starts to launch. Has it come true yet? No, it has not. Okay, so, and here it talks about their $1 million token by the end of fourth quarter this year, which was Q4 of 2023. We are now in Q1 of 2024, and we have still not seen this happen yet. However, back to the anomalies. Okay, so another anomaly that's interesting to me between Crypto G Group and Satoshi Nakamoto is that Crypto G Group was launched in 2004. Let me see if I can pull that up for you guys. Here it is. So Crypto G, operated by an anonymous nonprofit organization since 2004. Okay, so 2004, leveraging the best of the team's vast experience in fintech, along with the power of blockchain technology, so on and so forth. Okay, so 2004 is an important year because 2004 was the year that ISO 2022 was developed. Okay, so just another anomaly there to point out. Very interesting year to tie back together. Okay, so another anomaly here. Okay, so as of recently, and this is what kind of sparked this video for me, Crypto G, their latest, after we sent our tokens out, right, and we were promised a launch in Q4, we just received an email yesterday on March 1st, not yesterday but earlier this month, in which they told us, on behalf of Crypto G Group, we're going to provide you with the latest information which will finalize our liquidation process. So another anomaly or coincidence is, when we happen to be right now, BTC is hitting, previous all-time highs, right at the time that Crypto G gave us this email. There's not much we can provide as of now, but we would like to congratulate those who have been keeping their faith in this project. Nour token holders will be rewarded heavily. Liquidity is coming big. So once again, anomalies and things that are consistent. Same Crypto G email being used. So, same communication, same form of communication. And kind of going back a little bit, this is their apparently their layer 1 blockchain project, which is their Nour token that they just talked about. It's supposed to be Nour token, which is their X token is what they call it. So here it talks a little bit about their Crypto G project. Once again, just kind of going over the same details. And here's that email that we sent our tokens to, in which they claimed all participants will receive VIP rank in their DEX. DEX is a very important concept because I'm about to dive into that as well. So now let's kind of dive into the little further details. Okay, so another strange thing that I found was during one of these kind of token swaps that Crypto G announced, there was this brief email that was shown on Stellar Expert. It wasn't up there for long. I was able to catch it. Okay, CryptoK777@protonmail.com. Now, without knowing that another account, which is called Crypto Cipher, that I follow, which seems to be just a Crypto G enthusiast such as us. However, he seems to apparently know or have some sort of connection to K777 crypto. And so right off the bat, you see that anomaly. After I discovered this, I went back to go look at it, and it was already changed back to Crypto G, which is the original email. So I found that very interesting, but luckily I was able to search it. I decided to search it one day, and I found this Twitter account, which If you look at the bio, private investor, crypto enthusiast, global entrepreneur. One of his last posts at the time was 3/15, which almost a year ago from now. Being a whale isn't easy, as many would assume. You literally had to hodl just to keep the crypto market afloat. Even moving an untouched coin since its inception will create fear in the market. The question is, should it be done now? Right. So to me, it's, this guy doesn't have a lot of followers, but the fact that he's it just doesn't make sense to me. Why would somebody would post something like this with this amount of followers if you weren't somebody that had potentially a stack of tokens that you're sitting on that nobody knows of? Okay, so is that Satoshi Nakamoto? I don't know, right? But it could be potentially tied to the group. Okay, because there's different things different theories that go around. John McAfee, I believe, said it was 11 people. Crypto G group in this case, I think it's a group of 21. So, or maybe he's just one of the backing that helps back the Crypto G group. Maybe they have more reserves, and I don't know. I don't know the details on that, but I'm just here to point out the anomalies. Okay. So here's a post by Crypto Cypher where he tags K777 and he puts these pictures on here, which is the details that I'm going to dive in now. Okay, but before I get there, let's go back to Crypto K777. So when Crypto G announced their swap to OPRX, which is another token they were launching that they had a swap our current holdings to, he posted this on Twitter, and then following that, 2 weeks later, there was a change in plans from Crypto G, in which now they were launching their final plan, which was Nour. So if you weren't following along, or if you were following along, there was a lot of people that were upset that this was happening, but what they failed to see, right, out of their emotions and out of them just not understanding the potential gravity or magnitude about what may happen soon with that million BTC stash that's missing. Here's just some, and with people with people's emotions kicking in, I don't think it allowed people to see what could actually be happening here, right? So here's Nour. Here's some more information on Nour. They claim that 30% will be held for early holders, which is supposed to be the tokens that are held back for us for distribution, and then 70% will be open for trade. And if you see here, this is the final mission X. Mission X, for those who are the chosen ones, let it be guided by the Almighty. So going back to this, right? So Nour, let's go back to the anomalies, okay? So our Nour token, that's kind of what brought me here, right? So Nour, there was actually a post by Satoshi Nakamoto back a couple of years, I would say 3 to 5 years ago, and it's been wiped off the web. I couldn't find it. So right off the bat, to me, that's interesting, right? Like, why would that particular post be deleted? There's nothing to it, right? There's some more. I feel like there's more posts on the Bitcoin forum or the P2P Foundation forum in which could potentially give away more information on Satoshi. So to me, I found that very interesting. Fortunately, I was able to find it on Wayback Machine, and it's legit. You can actually find articles on this when you search Nour Satoshi. He actually posted this, and that was the only post that he had. Okay, so another anomaly, right? So these are like very small key connections that I'm making that would otherwise kind of go overlooked if you're not paying attention. Okay, so that's another anomaly. Now let's kind of go back to, here we go. So this is where we start getting into the good stuff, right? So this was one of their most recent, before the earliest email update. And here they give us some important information, and this is what to me kind of just made it night and day to me. This was the most this is probably the most key information I've ever stumbled upon out of all my research. This tops it to me, in my opinion. Okay, So they posted 3 things, right? They gave us an update and they told us we had some questions we sent out and they finally answered us. Okay, so I'm not going to go through that. I'm just going to go through this right here. So they gave us 3 different pieces of information that are key. So number 1, CryptoG's Bitcoin liquidation and exchange listing event, Nour token, our revamped roadmap and timeline, and the Nour token liquidity pool, CryptoG Group's Bitcoin Vault screenshots. Okay, so I'm gonna let you guys digest that a little bit because it probably doesn't make sense right now, or it doesn't click as something that's significant. But the reality is, I even overlooked this too at the beginning. Like I saw them post this, but it didn't really like make sense to me in the way that it does now. So CryptoG Group's Bitcoin Vault screenshots. Okay, so here was their liquidation event. This was back in late last year. It was supposed to happen December 18th. Did not happen. So another failed timeline. So as you can see, we're already getting into kind of why a lot of people have already steered away from CryptoG. Let me see if I can pull this up, show you guys a little better. All right, well, that's neither here nor there. So yes, so this was their, and this was the screenshot they sent us. Okay, so I'm just gonna flow through these quickly, and I'll dive into some more details here shortly. Right, so here's that. Here's a QR code. Here was their timeline, which of course has not taken place yet, but they're giving us screenshots, right? They're showing us something. Now you can say this is fake, but let's go back into the timing. Let's talk about the timing that this took place, and let's go into further details. Okay, now why is this important, right? Why is a 1 million Bitcoin important? Because if there's 2 ways that a person, whoever Satoshi is, there's 2 ways that the identity can be proven. One is if he was able to provide the private keys or do perform a transaction from the Genesis block, or prove that he has the keys to the Genesis block, or if he proves that he has access to the 1 million Bitcoin that apparently is stashed away in thousands of wallets. Okay, so just to kind of put it into perspective, okay, so why is that million Bitcoin important? Well, because if you look here, right, so Satoshi is estimated to hold the largest Bitcoin cache, more than 1 million BTC, valued at approximately 35 billion more. So you'll see right here, Satoshi Nakamoto apparently has, and this is approximate, right? So 1.1 million BTC, approximately 22,000 addresses. So if you see the holdings of, the top holdings of all the largest Bitcoin holders, you'll see that trumps it all, right? So that's important because that can drive the market. And to me, if that's true, then that you can't really hide 1 million Bitcoin too much, right? If any sort of info can give that away, right? Just how you have all these different articles that consistently come out on Satoshi era wallet transfers. It's easy to track when a lot of Bitcoin moves from tokens or addresses, wallets that were tied to the early mining days of Bitcoin, which was the years 2010, 2011. So it's not that hard to figure out what the important matter is here, right? So, and now to add to that, even the entire case with Craig Wright versus all his legalities that he's going through. He's gone through some legal lawsuits with Dave Clayman. He's currently in the lawsuit with the COPA, which is the Bitcoin Core developers. And he even had a moment where this could have been the game changer for him. He had provided actually a list of 144 addresses that apparently were tied to the Genesis days of the early days of Bitcoin, right? Which have been unmoved Bitcoin. They were apparently unmoved Bitcoin from 2009, which is Satoshi era. However, for those that followed this one along, there was an encrypted message in here that was decoded that was sent by Satoshi Nakamoto, in which made his theory completely defunct. So Craig Stephen Wright is a liar and a fraud. He doesn't have the keys used to sign this message. Also, unfortunately, the solution is not just to change a constant in the code or to allow powerful participants to force out others. We are all Satoshi. So it could have been over, right? It could have been, hey, this could have proved the identity of Craig Wright, which would have proved the identity of Satoshi. But the reality is that even in court, right? Even in court, they're using the idea of the million Bitcoin or the idea of addresses tied to those Bitcoin from the early days as a way to prove the identity of Satoshi, right? So you can have anybody out there making a theory. You can, people can claim this, they can claim that, but honestly, if they don't have proof that what their claim or theory, but honestly, if they don't have any proof on how their claim or theory ties to Satoshi Nakamoto, it doesn't matter, right? They're just saying a story. They're saying a story just like everybody else, right? Nobody's provided any type of proof, but I'm here to provide that proof today, okay? In which my claim is that, and I stand by it, that Crypto G is Satoshi Nakamoto. Why do I say that? So here comes the last piece of info that I'm going to give y'all, okay? So these screenshots were posted with that latest update from Crypto G. If you can see here, and I'll dive into this. Let me pull this out to make it a little easier to see. All right, so if you look at this here, total liquidity, $32 billion. Now you can say this is fake if you want, but the timing of it is what's crazy, right? So November 4th, right, they're saying this is their DEX apparently, and it's showing their Bitcoin vault. Okay, cool, right? So then look at the date, November 5th. Now look at this, right? So you got November 5th. And then here you have the latest vault transactions took place 2/11/2023. Okay, so that may not seem like important information, but I actually, to me it clicked, right? So if these transactions took place on 11/2, and if apparently Crypto G is tied to Satoshi, then there should be an article out there that says, hey, there's been some wallets that were from the Satoshi era that just moved some BTC. Well, guess what? I found that article. Okay, so let me go back to this. Okay, now this is where it gets crazy. I went in and I pulled it from two sources for now, so that I was even at first thinking, okay, do they have, is this group just connected to this marketing, this article, or is this legitimate, right? So here's one of the articles. It may be hard to read, but I'll kind of read out loud what happened here. So this was an article 3 days ago. So I pulled this November 5th around the same day. So 3 days back is November 2nd, right? The same day that this Crypto G vault screenshot shows the transactions. And it says 3 Satoshi era Bitcoin whales come alive after 6 years, a transfer of 230 million in a day. And what makes it a Satoshi era Bitcoin whale? If you go back to and I have it here, right? So this is let me pull this up. If you were to actually take the time to go look at these transactions, what you're gonna see, what makes him a Satoshi era wallet is that if you start to just click back, everything all connects back to the Bitcoin Genesis block, right? And if you just continue to click back on these transactions, you're going to see that the year in which those transactions had a wallet activity were tied back to 2010, and it shows that some of these wallets were never untouched for a couple amount of years, as stated in the article. Okay, cool. So before I dive into that, right, how did I get there? Okay, so I saw this. And I went and at first it didn't make sense to me because it showed that this wallet moved 6,500 BTC, a total of 6,500, which is 2,550, 2,000, and 1,950 BTC added up. Okay. Now, if, at first glance, it didn't really click to me. However, okay, when I went back and I have all the wallets here that I can give you guys so you guys can look at them yourself. When I went back and I looked at, I searched this up and I was able to find another article as well, right? So this kind of just went ahead and proved to me that, okay, there wasn't just articles coming out that could have been a coincidence. There was more articles that posted around that same time that talks about that same transfer. Okay, and so I have the articles here. And if you look at this, right, so if you look at this is from that same screenshot, right? So all they did in that article was round up, right? 2550, 1999, 2000, 1949.9, 1950, for a total of 6,500 BTC. So there you go. Let me go ahead and dive further. Okay, so look at the decimals: 2549.9, 1999.9, 1949.9. So at first I thought maybe it's just a coincidence, right? But if you see here, 1YRZ, BC1Q, you can't really see it that well here, but it's a QG. Now let me go back to the website then, right? So let me go back here, right? So here's one of them actually. Let me pull this up for you guys. All right, so here you'll see, right? So here's that 1RZ BC1QG that I mentioned, and here's the exact same amount to the decimal. And this happened on 11/1, right? 11/2, kind of the same timeline. So if you look at this, right, so 2000, this wallet, so on the screenshot I just showed you, it shows Crypto G transferred this amount to this wallet, and the amounts line up to the decimal. Now whether that could be fake or not, you decide, right? You decide what you consider fake or not, okay? But if you look at this, you'll see that some of these wallets, if you start to trace them back, right, you'll connect it here. I'm already at 2017. I come back here, 2011. Here's that 2,500 BTC, and they all stem from things like F2 pool, which is all the early Bitcoin mining days. So if you tell me that's Satoshi, right, it's got to be Satoshi. Now, okay, cool. So I figured those out. I was able to pull those. Okay. Now, additionally, though, I was actually able to find these as well. So there's some other ones here that you can't really see well. Let me zoom in more. Right. So then I saw these, right? 1077. It's kind of hard to see here, but 1F34, 1 BAF, and 14YK. I'll post a picture separately in my PDF so you can look at them yourself. I was able to find those. I was actually able to find those fucking wallets. So here they are. Right, so I was able to actually prove that those wallets weren't just a copy and paste deal. Like there's something here. Look, 5/11/5/3 2011, 10,000 BC, and it hasn't moved since. Right, we're on 2024. We're received some Bitcoin, but there hasn't been anything that's been sent out. So these are untouched since 2011, the Satoshi era. Right, so my thing is, like, if you try to fake this, who's gonna understand this? Who's gonna take this as something that would signal them to either buy your token, or no one's looking at those details? You know what I mean? So when I found those 3 wallets, so I found all these wallets, and then just the other day, which kind of triggered me to make this video, I found 2 of these wallets, and to me they kind of just sealed the deal. To me, it just straight up, look at this. All right, so you can see here, BC1QCDJ, 17,000, 1 billion USD. So just those transactions alone, right, we're talking about at least a couple billion. Let's say I didn't find the rest, right? We already at least have $3 billion in actual BTC reserves that will definitely 100% move the market. Now, the other anomaly is, in this same screenshot, you can actually see, let me go back to the original. Remember I mentioned here 1.1 million Bitcoin across 22,000 wallets? Well, they don't have, and those are just approximations. No one really knows the true amount. But if you see here, 32 billion, 1.9 in collateralized assets, 1.7 million BTC across 11,000 wallets. Here's just a closer look at this, right? So to me, to be honest with you, after just kind of seeing this, it kind of sealed the deal for me. And it made sense because so CryptoG has also provided in their previous emails, back when they would send us email updates to anybody who was subscribed to the email list, they were already posting stuff like this already. Here's another CryptoG group. Hey, this is the we just moved some of our Bitcoin into our Coinbase and we're ready for our first liquidation exercise, which of course hasn't happened, right? But they've always been consistent on showing us that they're tied to that 1 million Bitcoin in some way, shape, or form. Nobody else is even trying to fake that, right? No one's even trying to point that way. So to add, and then to add to that, right? So if you go back to right, so no one's even thinking about that, right? No one's even trying to fake their claim or theory in that direction, right? And you know, there's a potential that this account is tied to CryptoG, or it potentially is CryptoG. Right, so, and then they even have some YouTube videos where somebody says, show us some update to prove you are Satoshi. They posted an address, I believe. It looks like it's like a encrypted message, but here it is again. They seem to have briefly changed their name to Nour 21. So, you know, but even then I wasn't able to make out what this actually means. But it looks like it's some kind of encrypted message. But still, the anomaly is that they continue to point towards them having either access to the early Bitcoin or simply just being tied to the 1 million Bitcoin. Okay, so there you go, right? So the consistency, right? The anomalies, right? So if you have anybody else out there that claims that Satoshi's this, Satoshi's that, just tell them to share some kind of tell them to share proof of their claim being tied to the 1 million Bitcoin. That's all it takes. And by far, as of today, I have not found any more convincing evidence in this that CryptoG is tied to Satoshi Nakamoto. You can say what you want. You can talk about all the failed timelines if you've been following along, but don't let your emotions get in the way from understanding that they've provided information that potentially could alter the entire market and prove that, you know, this group is legitimate. Okay, so let me know your thoughts, right? Let me know what you think. I wanted to share this quick drop. I know it's been a while since I've been on here, been working on some stuff in the background, but you know, I'm not like other individuals where I like to post consistently. You know, I don't have any connections or insider connections, so everything I post is research that I do on my own over a long period of time. So let me know your thoughts on this claim or theory, and once again, this is not financial advice, so it should not be taken as so. So have a good day and God bless.